Exposed. 7 sinister stories of the haunted and cursed that will chill you to the bone. Anna's heart raced as she stood in her new kitchen, the delicious aroma of garlic and simmering tomato sauce giving her a momentary sense of comfort. Little did she know, the quaint suburb of Maplewood had secrets buried deep beneath the surface. Whispers echoed through the dim hallways of her seemingly charming house, creeping in like a cold wind, stirring the shadows that flitted just outside her line of vision. It felt like the walls were alive, watching, waiting. At first, she brushed it off as her imagination. After all, moving with 2 small kids, a hasty escape from her tumultuous past leaves little room for doubt. She wanted solace, a fresh start. But Max, her golden retriever, sensed it. He would sit at the bottom of the stairs, barking furiously at the darkened basement door, where strange noises marinated in the silence. Fear stirred in her gut, unsettling her sense of safety. That first night took an even darker turn. An icy draft swept through the house, goosebumps erupting on her skin. Children's laughter, once a source of comfort, felt tainted by an unseen presence. The neighbors smiled wide and waved, but their eyes felt hollow, concealing untold stories that whispered through the leaves of the old oak trees lining the streets. What had happened here? Her pulse quickened with every unanswered question. Before we continue, I need to tell you something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to their system, and many people are missing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and select all notifications so you don't miss future videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. The deeper Anna delved into the community's history, the more sinister the truth became. Families had vanished, their names buried beneath layers of time, hushed away like last week's news. Legends spoke of them, the families cursed in a house that lured them in only to consume what it loved most. Her home, once a sanctuary, morphed into a ballooning enigma of dread. But the true horror crested like a wave when her neighbor, the esteemed high school coach, suddenly took a keen interest in her children. At first, it seemed harmless, offering to babysit, organizing playdates that squeezed her heart with gratitude. But there was something in his smile that chilled her bones. Whenever he looked at her kids, the kindness in his eyes shifted, replaced by a hunger that made her sick. She felt ensnared in a trap of false safety, paranoia thickening in the air around her. Nights turned into a sequence of whispered fears and unfathomable darkness. One evening, after yet another rustling sound diminished into silence, Anna realized she couldn't just wait. Something was building, brimming with terror. The house was alive, and it wanted her to confront it. Each step into the night felt like stepping off a precipice into the unknown. As shadows twisted around her, born of her doubts and fears, she had to face the truth of her haunted past and its connections to this insidious present. Why had she sought solace here? In the scuffle of reality and terror, Anna stood at the brink of a nightmare. Would her instincts save her or plunge her deeper into the abyss? The scream that pierced the night sliced into her very core. Who would be the next victim in this sinister game? A sense of dread clutched at Anna's throat as she stepped into the hallway, the darkness stretching beyond the reach of the dim light. Each creak of the old wooden floor felt like a warning, like the very house was trying to keep her from exploring further. Her instincts screamed at her to turn back, to hide away from whatever malevolence lurked in the shadows. Max whined softly, his fur bristling on the back of his neck. With each cautious step, she felt her heart thunder in her chest, almost drowning out the soft noises that echoed from the basement. The air was thick with anticipation, almost as if the darkness was alive, breathing down her neck. She hesitated at the threshold of the basement door, her hand hovering over the cold knob. Were her kids safe upstairs? Tears pricked at her eyes when she thought about leaving them unprotected. Suddenly, a chilling whisper slithered through the crack beneath the door, too soft to comprehend but terrifying nonetheless. Anna's breath hitched. She fumbled with the knob, twisting it with a trembling resolve. The door creaked open slowly, releasing a breath of stale air that sent shivers down her spine. Max darted past her, racing down the steps before she could call him back. "Max, no." The panic in her voice echoed in the chilling stillness. She followed him into the abyss, her pulse racing as the darkness enveloped her like a shroud. The smell of damp earth and something acrid stung her nostrils. As her eyes adjusted, she noticed a dim light flickering at the far end of the basement. Hesitant, Anna took a step forward, the ground uneven beneath her feet, each stride stirring fear and adrenaline. "Max!" she called, her voice louder now, cutting through the silence. He suddenly reappeared, his fur glistening with moisture. He stood at the base of a long wooden table, growling at something unseen. Anna squinted, her heartbeat thrumming in her ears. The table was cluttered with old, rotting photographs. She hesitated, instincts warning her of some unknown threat. Her fingers brushed against a faded photo, revealing a family who smiled back at her, unaware of the horror that awaited them. A shudder crawled down her spine as she recognized the house in the background. It was her house. The family had once lived here, smiling in a time when joy felt untouchable. But upon closer inspection, Anna noticed something chilling. The eyes of the little girl in the photo seemed lifeless, void of warmth. Just like the neighbor's hollow gazes, the earth underfoot shifted slightly, a low rumble vibrating through the floor. Anna glanced back at Max, who stood fixated on a corner of the room where the shadows twisted thicker than anywhere else. Frost crept up her spine as she felt an oppressive weight pressing down. Just then, something hard fell from the shelf above, clattering to the floor. She turned abruptly, heart racing. A single key, tarnished and old, lay glinting in the flickering light. Her instincts screamed that it held the answer, but also a curse. What door could it unlock? Was it a path to uncovering the mystery or a descent into madness? Anna felt her breath escape in a shaky gasp. Without thinking, she picked up the key, its cold metal biting into her palm. A draft swept through the room, unsettling the sheets of dust in the air. Something deep inside her warned that time was running out. Was she meant to uncover the truth? Or was it best to leave the past buried, no matter the cost? As she stood there, on the precipice of discovery, the shadows shifted around her, an entity lurking just beyond the veil. The walls seemed to close in, whispering secrets she could barely grasp. And as she turned once more to face the darkness, she felt it, a hand brushing against her shoulder, cold as death. Anna gasped, dread pooling in her stomach. Her heart raced with terror. Who was there? What did they want? The whisper echoed again, more urgent now. "Find me," and just like that, the house fell silent, waiting for her next move as it unraveled its deadly game. Anna's breath caught in her throat as she spun around, her eyes wide as they darted from shadow to shadow. There was nothing there, just the dark, oppressive silence of the basement. The key felt heavier in her palm, pulsing with an uncanny energy, as if it was urging her towards some hidden knowledge she wasn't ready to face. "Max?" she called again, her voice cracking. The dog remained quiet. Only the soft thud of his paws against the floor told her he was still near. A thin layer of sweat trickled down her back. What was lurking here? The chill wrapping around her was more than just the cold air. It felt alive, as if the darkness had a tendril against her skin. Suddenly, there was a loud bang. It rattled the walls, sending her heart lurching into her throat. Anna jumped, clutching the key tighter. What was that? Panic clawed at her insides. Adrenaline surged as she stepped back, ready to bolt if anything moved in the deep shadows. Max whined, his eyes darting to the far corner. She followed his gaze, peering into the void. A barely perceptible shift caught her attention, a flicker of movement. The whisper returned, trailing through the air like the breath of the dead. "Find me." Against her better judgment, Anna took a tentative step toward the illuminated spot at the far end of the room. As she drew closer, she could make out the outlines of something placed on the ground, a tattered blanket, stained and torn, a small shape beneath it. The flickering light cast an eerie glow, turning every fragment of the basement into an omen. What could that be? She whispered, dread clawing at her throat. The blanket might hold secrets about the family from the picture. The thought of what lay beneath it filled her with horror, but the compulsion to know the truth was overpowering. She knelt down, her body trembling, and slowly pulled back the edges of the blanket. A child's toy lay beneath a porcelain doll, its face cracked and colorless, one eye entirely missing. It seemed to stare right through her, its empty eye socket telling of past horrors. "What happened to you?" Anna murmured, her voice shaking. She picked it up gingerly, the cold ceramic sending chills through her fingertips. Max nudged her leg, his low growl vibrating through her. "It's just a doll," she said, even though her gut said differently. In that moment, the air turned thick, the basement felt smaller. Shadows clawed at the walls, stretching ever closer. The whisper grew louder, penetrating her thoughts. "Find me." It was relentless now, surrounding her, suffocating her. Suddenly, Max lunged, barking furiously at the corner. Anna whirled around, fear gripping her. "What's wrong, buddy?" she gasped. The shadows twisted unnaturally, distorting shapes and threatening to engulf her. A figure began to take shape from the darkness. A little girl standing silently, her face pale and eyes void of life, just like in the photograph. "Help me," the girl whispered, a fragile sound that resonated with pure anguish. Anna's heart raced as she realized that the girl wasn't an innocent soul. She was a warning. "No, stay back," Anna shouted, her voice breaking as she stumbled back. The shadows swirled, angered by her resistance. She gripped the key tighter. There was something more about it, something that could either save her or doom her entirely. "Find me," the girl beckoned again, her ghostly hand reaching out, drawing Anna closer to the edge of terror. Just then, another loud crash echoed from above, shaking the walls and making the floor tremble beneath her. The house seemed alive, a predator ready to devour her whole. What was left unseen above her? She had to make a choice: find the truth lurking in those shadows or escape with her sanity intact. With the girl still extending her hand and the shape of something darker creeping from the other corner of the basement, Anna froze, feeling the weight of everything pressed down on her. Would she dare to step further into madness or retreat into the unknown dangers waiting upstairs? But before she could decide, darkness rushed toward her, swallowing her. "Scream!" Anna gasped as she was engulfed by the shadows, the air thickening and collapsing around her. The basement's walls pulsed, as if breathing. Max barked frantically, his panic sharpening Anna's senses, lifting her momentarily from the deep fog of fear. She felt the cold grip of the key, each pulse resonating with her racing heart. "Help me!" The girl's voice was maddening, an echo bouncing through the darkness. Anna staggered, her instincts screaming at her to run. But there was something hypnotic about the girl's outstretched hand, a pull from the depths of despair that clawed at Anna's humanity. Then the shadows thickened, folding into themselves like ink spilled on light. A low growl rose, a menacing rumble that seemed to shake the earth beneath her, reverberating through her very bones. "No, no, no," she chanted frantically, trying to gather her wits. "Find me!" The whispered plea melted together with the growl, twisting into a sinister melody that ran a chill down her spine. Anna took a step back, but her heels struck the porcelain doll, sending it tumbling to the floor with a shattering clatter. The sound sliced through the air, drawing attention in the moment of distraction. The girl's expression shifted from sorrow to fury, her features bleeding into something grotesque and malevolent. The shadows behind her thickened, a swirling tempest demanding to be fed. Anna's world tilted. She stumbled, bumping into the corner of the basement. The darkness shifted closer, hungry and waiting. "Get back!" she yelled, her voice a mere whisper against the cacophony of shadows. Max barked wildly, a brave sentinel against the terror closing in. His growls morphed into desperate yelps as he leapt towards Anna, nudging her to move where? Each option felt like a dead end. The remnants of the doll lay scattered around her, each shard a memory that whispered, every cracked bit revealing trapped anguish. "What are you?" Anna shouted futilely, eyes darting between the girl and Max, who whined painfully at her side. "Please help me." The girl's voice softened, a deadly sweetness tangled with despair. She stepped closer. "They won't let me go until you find me." Anna's heart clenched. The dread twisted. Contorting within her, this wasn't just a ghostly plea. It was a trap. Every fiber of her being screamed to turn and run, to flee up the stairs, back into the realm of sunlight and safety. But as she glanced back, the staircase seemed impossibly far, the narrow steps shrouded in a dark veil that mocked her urgency. She had stumbled deep into something ancient, a tale spun from grief and suffering, and now it clutched at her soul. "Max, we have to go," Anna shouted, but her voice was barely audible over the whispering wind of despair that filled the basement. She felt the lump in her throat rise as the girl's dead gaze bore into her. In that moment, a decision hovered like a dark specter. Would she unearth the dark secret buried in this house, or would she turn her back on a child lost to oblivion? The shadows flickered, shadows of faces and screams blending into one. Fleeting images of joy and tragedy danced before her eyes like specters lost in torment. What truth did that key unlock? What horrors awaited her if she chose to dig deeper? As the girl's outstretched hand closed the space between them, Anna felt a surge of confrontation welling within. Would she confront whatever lay ahead, or allow the darkness to consume her? With every second passing, time felt suspended in that musty basement. Nothing could prepare her for what was to come next, and before she could decide, the floor began to tremble violently, and darkness swirled faster. But this time it felt alive, hungry, and unyielding. "What's happening?" she gasped, as the ground beneath her cracked. The echoes of a long-buried truth seemed to surface, each rumble a call to confront the painful history lying beneath her family's facade. And then she saw it, a glimmer in the darkness. Something vital hidden within the very walls, but would she find it before time ran out? The tremors intensified, shaking the very foundation of the house. Anna fought to keep her footing as the shadows twisted and writhed, pulsating with a life of their own. The girl's form flickered, her features flickering between agony and rage, an otherworldly blend that was both hypnotic and terrifying. Anna couldn't look away. Something deep within her wanted to reach out, to make contact, to bridge the chasm of despair that separated them. Max barked, fierce and desperate, tugging at Anna's sleeve, pulling her back toward the trembling staircase. But the dark energies coiling around her felt like chains, binding her to the ground. "We can't stay here," she murmured, her voice barely a gasp. But every word was swallowed by the oppressive shadow. "Find me," the girl hissed again, her voice now layered with a multitude of whispers, all entwined in a melody that sang of sorrow and vengeance. "Unlock the truth." Anna's heart slammed against her chest. What truth? She felt the key pulsing in her hand, an artifact of her family's hidden past, as if it could respond to the girl's call. At that moment, everything inside her screamed to run, yet her gut screamed to dig deeper. The ground shuddered violently, a crack racing across the floor as jagged fissures splintered the space around them. Anna's breath quickened. She was now in a race against time. With trembling fingers, she held the key tightly, seeing in her mind moments from her childhood of family gathering, laughter echoing in painted hallways, a shattering contrast to the nightmarish scene before her. "I need to go," Anna shouted, hoping her voice would pierce the veil of despair. She started backward, but the shadows stretched out toward her, cold tendrils lashing out, pulling her closer. Max leapt between them, growling fiercely. "Stay back," she screamed at the darkness. Then, as if sensing a rift forming, the girl lunged closer, her distorted features glowing a sickly silver in the darkness. The shadows splintered and danced around her, forming into shapes of twisted faces that watched Anna hungrily. She barely managed to choke out, "What do you want from me?" The girl paused, the fury in her eyes waning for a fragile moment. To be free, the plea came soft, almost human again, a vulnerable slip that gripped Anna's heart. "Your blood unlocks the door, don't be afraid." A sickening nausea twisted Anna's stomach. Blood? Hadn't it always been about blood? Family ties? Secrets held in hushed tones? The whispers echoed in her mind now, a cauldron of emotion bubbling over. Suddenly, A cacophony of moans erupted from the shadows, long-buried wails of sorrow steeped in blood. Anna's heart pounded louder. What do you mean? Panic washed over her as she felt the shadows surge forward, sweeping her off her feet. Max barked again, wild and furious, pulling at her, and in his bravery, Anna found a smidge of clarity. She released the key, letting it slip from her hand, watching in horror as it fell into the darkness, swallowed whole by the abyss. Without thinking, fueled by fear and urgency, she whirled and dashed for the staircase, dragging Max with her. Gasping, she stumbled over the cracked floor, the shadows whipping at her heels. The growls behind her morphed into a chorus of maddened whispers, threats and promises mingling into an anguished symphony of torment. But just as she reached for the door, the ground beneath her buckled again, sending her sprawling. She turned over, eyes wide, the girl looming above her. A twisted smile etched across her once sorrowful features. You can't escape the truth. With one last surge of will, Anna grabbed the edge of the stairs, clambering up despite the darkness closing in. She could sense its foul breath, her heart beating in a frantic, desperate rhythm. Unlock it! The girl screamed as the door slammed shut before them, a final taunt. Anna could hardly breathe, the weight of darkness heavier than ever. What had she unleashed? And as she laid upon the chilling stairs, she pondered one haunting question. Was it already too late for them all? Anna's chest tightened as she lay on the cold, shuddering stairs. The whispers had receded, replaced by an uneasy silence that hummed in her ears. Shadows loomed ominously, unwilling to relent, pulse by pulse adapting to her presence as if the darkness itself was sentient. She forced herself to stand, taking in the dimly lit space around her. The staircase spiraled upward, where flickering light hinted at safety. "Come on, Max," she urged, feeling her pulse race again as she caught sight of dark tendrils creeping along the walls. They seemed to slither, writhing like creatures eager to reclaim her. She pushed herself forward, mounting the steps with urgency. Max followed closely, his growls infusing her with a feral courage. However, every step felt laden with dread. The silence pressed against her, thick like fog, every creak of the staircase echoing as if taunting her progress. "What truth?" she murmured, her breath coming in sharp bursts. "What does she want from me?" The girl's face flashed in her memory, a twisted visage trying to convey desperation and torment. Anna fought the urge to turn back, the instinct to uncover the lost thread of her family's history burning within her. Just as she reached the landing, Max emitted a low growl, fur bristling. Anna's heart slammed in her chest. A silhouette emerged from the shadows, sharp and gaunt. Her breath caught. Was it the girl? No, this one was different. It lacked the flicker of sympathy, entirely hollow and malevolent. The figure took a step forward, revealing a face frozen in a grimace, eyes sunken and black as coal. "You mustn't leave," it rasped, a voice that dripped like molasses. "You have so much to learn." Anna staggered back, a gasp escaping her lips. Max barked fiercely, charging at the entity, but the air warped around it, sending him crashing against the wall. She felt ice grip her heart as Max whimpered, momentarily dazed. "Max!" she cried, knees buckling as she rushed to him. But she was too close to the figure now. A chill washed over her, and instinct screamed at her to flee. "Is it freedom you seek?" The entity mocked, taking another slow step closer, the shadows curling around it. "There are truths that dwell here, truths that could break you." Anna's mind raced. The old key slipped from her thoughts. Shadows cloaked whatever secrets lay hidden in her family's past. "What do you know?" she stammered, glaring at the figure. "What happened to her? To my family?" A fragmented smile cut through its features, teeth too sharp and gleaming. "Your blood runs deep with their tale, the key lies in their suffering, yours is the vessel. Unlock it, and you shall find what you seek." The room around Anna began to cool. She heard that siren song again, a melody woven from despair and hope. It made her head spin. "Find me," the voice of the girl echoed in the recesses of her mind, blending with the sinister whisper of the figure. "You must choose." Anna's breath slowed, weight settling on her shoulders. Blood, freedom, truth. She had felt disconnected from her past. A sense of duty fought against the wish to escape. An urge to unearth the hidden twisted psyche of her lineage seized her thoughts. Suddenly, Max jolted to his feet, barking loudly, a protective force against the palpable terror. "No!" Anna shouted, straining against the darkness that clawed at her sanity. "Not again." The entity lurched closer, tendrils of shadow reaching out, brushing against her skin, cold and shocking. "The time is near, Anna. The pact is binding." As wind whipped through the corridor, flinging dust and bile, Anna swallowed back the fragility of her resolve. What was she supposed to unlock? Could she? Terror knotted her stomach. She looked back at Max, his loyal eyes gleamed with an innate understanding of what lay ahead. Yet now, she was standing at the edge. Could she really confront what awaited her? With the shadows cupping her knees, she realized a horrifying truth. She couldn't resist. Whatever rest was left would require her to step into the abyss. The final question lingered, heavy and crushing. Was she strong enough to dive into the corridors of pain, to unlock the key that could either save or destroy them all? The shadows thickened around her, tightening like a noose. Anna felt the chill seep into her bones, whispering cruel messages of doubt. Max remained at her side, trembling but resolute, a growl rumbling deep within him as he stood guard. She could sense the entity's hunger, a palpable force drawing closer, searching for cracks in her resolve. "Choose," it beckoned, each word oozing with malice, "your past or your future." Her heart hammered as she fought to gather her thoughts. The staircase beneath her felt like a precipice now, where one misstep could send her into an unending abyss. What did it mean by "your blood runs deep"? Would she really be forced to confront the echoes of her family's history, the secrets that had remained buried for so long? The entity's black eyes sparkled with a malevolent longing, waiting patiently for her to falter. A nightmare made flesh, it beckoned to her, filaments of darkness wrapping tighter around her mind. "You're afraid," it crooned, the space around it pulsating with an inky glow. "How pitiful." "No," Anna spat, refusing to let the darkness twist her thoughts. "I'm not afraid of you." But her voice wavered. The figure laughed, a sound like the cracking of ice, and took another step, and the shadows whispered like 1,000 voices in her ear, echoes of fear, shame, and pain. They nudged at the corners of her sanity, probing where her family's past was muddied with sorrow. "Find me." The girl's voice materialized amid the chaos, sharp and pleading. Anna's heart raced. It pierced through the gloom like a beacon. She had to push past the ensnaring grasp of despair. Her family was depending on her. Spurred by instinct, Anna took a backward step, trembling but resolute. "What if I don't want to play your game?" she declared, her voice trembling but gaining strength. "What if I turn away?" The entity recoiled, anger flaring. "You cannot escape your fate. You are bound to it. Even now, as we speak, the darkness gnaws at your very essence. You will face the truth." Anna screamed, the sound spiraling into the void, filled with defiance as she turned to the shadows. She felt Max press against her leg, bolstering her courage. "Then I will meet that truth on my own terms," she shouted, stepping further down the dark corridor, determined to break the cycle that had entrapped her family. But as she turned her back, she felt the weight of 1,000 eyes on her. The shadows shrieked in displeasure, rage swelling, a tumult of voices demanding she return. The chill deepened, sending shivers racing up her spine. Anna, the entity's tone was low, dangerous, like an impending storm. "You will regret this. You cannot escape what you truly are." "Then let me find out." With every ounce of fury she could muster, she sprinted backward into the dark, dragging Max behind. The din of ghostly wails rose to a crescendo, a cacophony urging her to relent, to pause. But something flickered in the distance, a faint glimmer beyond the curtain of shadows. Anna zeroed in on it, a pulse of light that seemed to beckon her forward, promising revelation and perhaps salvation. "Is it hope?" Anna whispered, heart pounding as she surged toward it. The entity's wailing issued an earth-shattering echo behind her, relentless. Yet, the closer she got, the more the air warped around her. A gust of wind whipped through, pushing her back, testing her will. The shadows writhed, hungry, desperate to pull her back into the depths. "Max!" she shouted, fear lacing her voice. "Keep running." As she neared the light, she felt a burning surge in her veins, a resonance that connected her to generations past. But the shadows clawed at her feet, pulling her down, roots of darkness wrapping tighter, hungry for her despair. With her last shred of strength, Anna lunged for the light, desperate for an escape but uncertain of what awaited her on the other side. Would it be freedom or another trap? The answer hovered just out of reach as she plunged into the blinding brightness, uncertainty swirling in her gut. But deep inside, a horrid realization struck. The truth might be more sinister than she ever imagined, and whatever lay ahead could shift the fragile balance of her family's history forever. Would she emerge whole, or become another lost whisper in the dark? The light enveloped Anna, a sudden brilliance that blinded her. It felt warm, yet it stirred something gnawing deep within her, as if it knew the shadows that clung to her heart. She stumbled forward, disoriented, her mind swirling with images of her family, ghostly faces trapped in grief, eyes pleading for recognition. "Where am I?" she gasped, trying to blink away the brightness, to see anything that felt real. Max barked beside her, his fur bristling, an alarm that drew her focus. The brilliance receded, revealing a dim room, walls draped with tattered silk and memories. An ancient mirror hung crookedly, reflecting her wide eyes, but the reflection wavering like oil on water. "Welcome, Anna," a voice slithered through the air, smooth and taunting, reverberating off the walls. It struck a chord, suffocating her with familiarity, and the corners of the room darkened, creeping back into the ancient gloom. "Do you know who I am?" The voice continued, curling around her like smoke. "You've heard the stories, whispered secrets through the generations. It's time to confront what your family has buried." Anna swallowed hard, the weight of her lineage crashing down on her. "I didn't come here to dig up old bones." She clenched her fists, willing her heart to slow. "But they won't stay buried, dear child." The figure materialized before her, coalescing from the shadows. It was her grandmother, eyes hollow but gleaming with an unsettling hunger. "Their stories ripple through time, leading to your door." Max growled, bristled, and protective. Anna took a cautious step back, the air thick with an unholy dread. "What do you want from me?" she demanded, voice quaking involuntarily. "Do you really believe you can escape your destiny?" Her grandmother's grin stretched too wide, stretching the skin taut over her sharp teeth. "You are tethered to this lineage. Each choice you make draws you deeper into the web." The mirror cracked, splintering with an ominous sound that echoed throughout the dim enclosure. Images clawed through the fractures. Faces of ancestors twisted in anguish, reliving their own horrors. "Join us," her grandmother whispered, the shadows coiling tighter around Anna's feet, pulling at her shoes, seeking a way in. "Get away from me," Anna shrieked, panic flooding through her veins. She turned to flee, but the air condensed around her, thick and sticky. It was suffocating, rippling with the weight of countless failures. "You can't run from blood," the entity howled, and the walls echoed the outburst, thrumming with a sinister energy. A rattle filled the air, broken glass and shattered promises raining down. Anna's heart raced, pounding against her chest as she fought against the grasping shadows. "I want to be a part of this." She darted toward the flicker of light that still persisted, a thin thread just beyond her reach. "Foolish girl," her grandmother roared, eyes igniting in something dark and primal. "You can't outrun fate." Just as Anna reached for the light, a dark tendril shot forward, coiling around her wrist, squeezing tight. It pulled her back, dragging her through despairing cries, visions of her family's cursed past spiraling around her. A horrifying truth dawned: what if they were all trapped in a cycle that began long before her? She realized she wasn't just running from the shadows. She was running from the sins of those who came before her. "Let go," she gasped, fear coursing through her like ice as the room began to crumble around them, walls warping and fading. The shadows shrieked, furious at her resistance, while Max leapt forward, teeth bared ready to protect her at all costs. But the light was dimming, the escape now feeling more like a mirage than salvation. With a burst of newfound desperation, she grappled against the grip of shadow, an ember of resolve igniting inside her. "I will not be your puppet." In that moment of defiance, the energy shifted. Who would triumph? Anna, or the darkness that intertwined with every fiber of her being? As the world lurched and twisted, she wondered if she managed to break free, what dark truths would she truly uncover? Would her family's history swallow her whole? Or might she unearth the power to change everything? Each heartbeat echoed her fear as she clasped onto the fading light, knowing that whatever came next would reveal the real horrors hidden just beyond her grasp. The shadows tightened their grip, a vice around Anna's wrist, and as she fought to break free, the room twisted violently. The tattered silk curtains fluttered like restless spirits, whispering her name, echoing with the cries of the damned. Max barked fiercely, his growls harmonizing with the trapped wails permeating the air, becoming a symphony of desperate defiance. "Stop this!" Anna screamed, her voice cracking under the weight of the darkness surrounding her. Her grandmother's laughter rang out, chilling and resonant, as if the very essence of despair was mocking her. "The past is a shackle, my dear," the entity hissed, stepping forward, illuminating her face with flickering shadows. "You cannot run from it. It clings to your skin like a second layer. Your skin holds their truths." Anna felt her heart race, a wild drumbeat that quickened with each pulse of the encroaching darkness. Her mind flickered to her family's secrets, dark and twisted tales whispered under the pale light of the moon. Every shadow in her past loomed larger now, taking shape like nightmares thrusting themselves into the present. "Let go of me." She strained against the otherworldly bindings, but the shadows dug in deeper, wrapping around her legs. Panic was a cold sweat on her brow. This was not mere folklore coming to life. This was something ancient, something feeding on her fear. "Don't you see?" her grandmother urged, voice sultry and seductive, seeping into Anna's bones. "You are the last in our line. You hold the key to liberation or destruction. Only you can quiet the anguished souls." "Why would I want to be part of this?" Anna cried out, steeling herself against the whispers that threatened to worm into her mind. "Because, child, their pain mirrors your own." With a flick of her wrist, the shadows obeyed, pulling closer, threatening to swallow Anna whole. Vision blurred and she saw it an ungodly tableau of her family's past, memories woven with betrayal and sorrow. Anna stumbled back as a vision surged forward. A distant memory of her mother, eyes wide with terror, whispering a forbidden name, a name that churned with dark power. "No!" Anna gasped, the revelation colliding with her like a punch. "Not that. You can't control me." Yet, the shadows only tightened, their grip cold and relentless. They flicked through memories like pages in a book, revealing anguish she hadn't known, moments her family had tried to erase. Each new revelation tore at her heart like claws. "Face your truth, Anna," her grandmother commanded, a predatory glint igniting in her hollow eyes. "Your power lies in acceptance. You can release them, or they will consume you." "Enough!" Anna screamed, summoning her strongest voice, determination flooding her veins. The light she had glimpsed earlier flickered back, though it weakened with each challenge. It barely glowed now, just a whisper of hope flickering against the consuming darkness and a surge of adrenaline. Anna thrust her fist upward, breaking the grip of one of the shadows, a momentary gasp slipping from her lips. The room trembled, and for the first time, she felt the shadows falter. But that victory was fleeting. More tendrils erupted, raging at her defiance. "You're foolish, child. They are a part of you," the figure howled, panic seeping from its voice. As the shadows clamored, Anna's hold on the flickering light began to slip, the warmth feeling remote. The cracks in the mirror reflected every aspect of her internal struggle, reminding her that retreat meant succumbing not just to the darkness, but everything her family had hidden away. With a final, desperate breath, Anna focused on the light, determined not to let it fade. "You don't own me," she shouted, summoning every ounce of her will as she lunged toward the glow. But just as she reached for it, everything went dark. A silence covered her ears, more suffocating than the shadows. The tendrils squeezed tighter, overwhelming her mind, pulling forth more ancestral whispers. What could she sacrifice to reclaim her future? And as the darkness deepened, Anna wondered, was liberation truly possible, or was she destined to follow the blood-soaked path laid before her? The truth loomed in front of her, just out of reach. Would she uncover the courage to confront it, or would she be consumed by the very shadows that haunted her? Anna gasped as the world around her swirled, the darkness threatening to crush her spirit. She could feel Max at her side, a loyal guardian amidst the twilight chaos. As the weight of ancestral despair bore down on her, a flicker of defiance ignited deep within her chest. "I want to be your pawn," she screamed, words fueled by rage and love for her children, her family, and herself. The shadows surged forward, coiling menacingly, but in that same instant, Anna felt a warmth wrap around her heart. It was the memory of her mother, vivid and glowing, whispering of resilience and strength. "You have the power, Anna. The courage runs in our blood." Each beat of her heart synced with the pulse of the flickering light, growing more vibrant and real. She pushed through the darkness, each step lightening her burden, her voice rising above the cacophony of whispers. "I choose my own fate. I will carve my path of truth." The shadows bristled, their anguished cries rising in a tumult, as if afraid of her resolve. The reflection in the cracked mirror danced with the remnants of her family's past, shadows of betrayal. But Anna felt a surge of power overwhelm her. She thrust her palms against the mirror, its surface shimmering with her determination. In that beautiful moment, she felt the ancient shackles within her family's legacy start to crack. "I see you. I recognize that pain," she cried, and the glow from the flickering light soared, embracing her like a mother's warmth. The agony around her began to fray at the edges, shadows receding like an ebbing tide. Suddenly, the screaming of the grandparents subsided, and Anna felt a pulse of hope surge through the room, sending vibrations through her bones. The girl from the basement appeared beside her, but this time, her visage softened, no longer a haunting reminder, but a specter of solace. "Free us," she whispered. The plea echoed in a tone so tender it melted Anna's heart. "I will," Anna breathed, every ounce of her being alight with the promise of freedom, not just for herself, but for the girl, for every tormented soul bound in shadow. "I will break the cycle." With a rallying cry, Anna launched herself toward the splintered mirror, the last fragment of shadow drawn against her skin. In that instant, she recognized that her blood held not only the weight of pain, but also the fire of resilience. She struck the mirror, a magnificent explosion of light erupting around her. Glass shattered, dispelling centuries of pain. Memories swirled into beams of bewitching colors, illuminating the room like fireworks, carrying with them deep truths of her lineage. Images flashed before her. Her mother smiling, laughing with her as a child. Her family gathering for holidays with love, things that had been buried beneath despair. And the heart of the explosion, Anna stood firm. As the colors enveloped her, she felt the shadows crumble, their power weakened against her newly acquired strength. Despair released its grip, vaporizing into the air like breath against a mirror. The room reverberated with their cries of anguish as they were finally freed from their torment. "Take your power back," the girl beamed. Anna watched in awe as the shadows dissolved into shimmering particles that floated away into the ether, a memory of the past that would no longer plague her or her family. The darkness waned. The encompassing room swirled into a vibrant light that sparkled with hopes and dreams. It was more than liberation. It was rebirth. "You've done it," Max barked, circling joyfully at her feet. Anna knelt down, wrapping her arms around him. "We did it." The weight upon her heart lifted. She had faced the darkness. She had confronted her bloodline. And in that confrontation, she reclaimed not only her family's legacy but set her children free, untethering them from an inherited torment. As sunlight pierced through the now empty room, filling it with warmth, Anna stepped outside, blinking against the brilliance of the world. The house that had once epitomized fear and sorrow now felt at rest, the cycle of pain broken. Promise of new beginnings lying ahead. And as we say goodbye to Anna and Max, remember this. Your strength lies in confronting the shadows of your past. If you've enjoyed this journey and want to dive into more stories that ignite your imagination, you need to subscribe now. Hit that bell so you don't miss out on our next exclusive story. Smash that like button like it's your last chance to show support for tales that matter. We want to hear from you. Flood the comments with your theories, your feelings about the story's end. And don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to experience this thrilling conclusion. Let us light the way together. Your voice counts.